Explain why the game can't be stopped then, when such a big mistake has been made.
Yeah, I mean, the process has gone through, and going back to the process again, I mean, because it's, as Ollie's trying to explain to Darren, put the 2D lines, Darren just gone, yeah, 2D lines, yes, fine, check complete, until they've, like, had another... It was like a rush formula in the end. So once the game's restarted, IFAB, you cannot stop play within the laws of the game. I know people are going to say, and we'll have a conversation about it in a minute, that once the game's restarted, you cannot stop the game under protocol, with VAR protocol, IFAB. You just cannot stop.
If they'd gone against that, what would have been the repercussions?
That would have been even worse, in my opinion.
Not for the clubs involved.
Well, I think who's going to... If he stops the game, what's he going to do? Because he doesn't know what he's going to do.
Give the correct decision.
Yeah, give the right decision.
OK, so he goes over, and how does he give the goal when the game's restarted? Because the game's restarted, so he cannot go back. Once the game's restarted, in law, he cannot go back because the game's restarted. It's end of conversation.
But when you look at the damage that's ensued over the last few days, if common sense was to reign in that situation, they go against protocol, they go against the rules, but they end up getting the right decision. At the end of the day, they're going to pat on the back whether they've broken the rules or not, aren't they? And they avoid the damaging few days we just had.
They would do, but two wrongs don't make a right. And I said before to one of my friends in the week that, you know, if Simon stops the game, which he can't do, he goes over and explains to both managers, look, we made a mistake. The VAR's called it wrong. It's been a clear error. You probably see it on your screens. You know it's a mistake. We're going to give the goal. So that's wrong in protocol. It's wrong in law. Daniel Levy sat upstairs watching the game. Liverpool win 1-0 or draw 1-1. Daniel Levy says, well, hang on, we could have won that game because they only had 9 players or 10 players. They've stopped the game when they can't stop the game. That's wrong in law. I want the game replaying because it's gone against protocol.
Mate, do you not think, though, that Darren England there, he said the wrong words, so the communication's wrong. His decision wasn't wrong. Does that make sense? Because he's clearly saying that goal should stand. So if we go back or go forward where the ball goes out of play, do you not think that it goes to Simon Hooper? We go, right, we've had a major mistake. He brings them together. Do you not think Howard Webb would have rather come to the right conclusion, which that goal should have stood, and then the repercussion that's gone on for Darren England this week wouldn't happen? Yes, IFAB would have gone crazy. Rules would have been, it would have been up against them, but poor Darren England, right? We're saying poor Darren England. His life has changed. He's a referee. He can't walk down the street now. We don't want that. He's made a human error. The communication is wrong. What he saw, it was a clear goal. So Daniel Levy, I think, and people at Spurs surely would have to come to terms and go, look, the goal was a clear and obvious error. That goal should stand.
Yeah, I understand that, and I get what Daniel Levy may say. Liverpool are complaining they may miss out by 1 point. Tottenham may miss out by 1 point. So again, you can't please both clubs. In law, there's nothing whatsoever that anybody could do. And I know we're all going to say, oh, common sense this, common sense that.
It's not the police are not involved in this.
It's
like
law.
No one's going to die, so
no one's going to
just stop the game?
That comment, like,
you keep on going law. It's not the law. What's the law?
It's the laws of football, mate. That is what the protocol is.
The laws of football 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was no VAR. There was just one ref and 2 linesmen. They shouldn't change that. But now there is VAR, so you have to go with the protocol. What VAR is implemented, you cannot change it. No one ever sat down and went, right, if there's a major mistake here, we've got to sort something. Did you think you were going to be that clever that you were never ever going to make a mistake?
And there's always got to be mistakes.
So why didn't we have this in the thing where you could stop it then?
Because we can't, as a Premier League, the Premier League can't just tell you what, if we make a mistake, we'll just stop it. We can't do it. The protocol is, you have to follow protocol. The protocol was followed correctly. It's the wrong decision, we all know. It is the wrong decision, and everybody
what's the point in having it then? If it's the wrong decision?
Surely the integrity of the game is more important than the laws.
100%. But having said that, they have done everything they have to do. They cannot break protocol. End of.
So what do you think needs to happen now then? What do you think needs to happen? Because that is a big call and they've just made a big, huge mistake.
It's a massive error, and everybody knows it's a massive error, otherwise we wouldn't be talking about it now. Going forward, IFAB may have to put something in place to stop this happening again. If it does happen, we have to bring someone in. But we can't do it as a Premier League on our own. We just cannot do it.
I think the one thing that stood out for me...
Can IFAB... Do you need to wait to the end of the season, or can IFAB change the rules right now?
I'd be surprised if it happens pre-season, because IFAB have a meeting every summer. Every association from about the world puts proposals for which they take on board. So if this thing does happen again, which it won't happen again, because what's gone on, I said at the opening day of the season, smaller thing, Man United Wolves, that won't happen again. This just will not happen again.
The thing is, though, Mike, I've listened to a few of the audios before and other sort of situations, and I said it the other week on it, they get so excited. So even that, then he's hold it, through.
Yeah, but
just calm down. Just calm down. You've got all the time in the world.
I think when he's saying hold it, that's Adrian, who's like an active official running on the pitch, and it's hard to stay calm when the game's going on. If you look at Darren's process, the process was the right process, but the wrong decision because he said the wrong words. But he was calm enough. He wasn't like, get with the lines, do this, do that. He was very, very calm down, and Darren's one of the best that are doing it.
Oh, no, you can tell by what he knew he made a mistake. You can tell. You can't be, he's made a mistake. You could tell the way he went afterwards. He was devastated.
They do panic in there, Mike. They do. What happens, right, if they make the decision then, even though you say you can't stop it, 45 seconds, Van der Veen clears it and you go, and obviously Darren England that's saying, I've made a mistake. Why can't he just give it? What happens to the referee if he gives it then? What happens?
I don't think you'll see him for the rest of the season, full stop.
Serious?
But
You're not going to see him
anyway.
I think this is something that you have to clarify,
Wow.
because people at home are probably saying, look, why can't common sense prevail? And that is why. Because Howard Webb, Simon Hooper, that could have been it. And we're all going, why can't this just happen? One for Liverpool, one for Jurgen Klopp and the team and the supporters, but one for Darren England. This guy has been under so much scrutiny.
You could have shown that on video after. You could have stopped the game and put it on their big screens. It was so obvious. I mean, some of them we watch are like so tight, it's ridiculous, and it could go either way.
Yeah.
But it was so obvious. Even a Tottenham fan would go, oh,
yeah.
He pressed the wrong button or whatever.
I don't even think Tottenham, they couldn't have argued with it. You've clear and obvious mistakes, but that's black and white.
It is, and I think it's just, the process is good, the process is the correct process, what he's done. He's got the kick points, everything is correct. He's just said the wrong thing for the wrong decision. It's check complete, as in check complete goal. Oh, yeah. But he's gone check complete, as in the offside. He's just had a complete...
He just not said goal.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoke to people this weekend, and like...
Have you spoken to Darren England?
Yes, I have.
How is he?
Yeah, he's devastated. I mean, I haven't spoken to him verbally. I've communicated with him via WhatsApp, as I have with Dan Cook and with Simon Hooper. And, I've been in that place where you've had things going wrong, and he's just devastated.
See, from a referee's point of view, would you not rather that common sense prevailed and then there's none of this happens?
Oh, it would be great if you could do it, but Chris, they can't do it. It's great. You can say, I'll tell you what, we'll just give a corner there. But it's not a corner. It should have been a goal kick. And you score from the corner. I tell you what, I've got that decision. I tell you, we'll scrap the goal. We'll give a goal kick. Can't happen. Once the game's restarted, there's nothing they can do.
Just coming back to the communication, because I was listening to Nigel Owens, the former rugby union referee, earlier this week, and he said when he listened to the audio that we've just listened to, many people have listened to across the week, he said it was like listening to a load of guys talking down the pub. He said the less voices you have, the easier it becomes. How do they improve the process in terms of the amount of voices they're hearing? Would it help, like in rugby, if those conversations were heard by the fans at the stadium who often feel left out when it comes to VAR decisions?
I think I said at the start of the season, the process was in place even when I was in there, that the audios will be released in general. And I think also football's a quicker game, rugby's a slower game. I also think that the TMO guys and the rugby league referees, they know that when they speak, they're going to be heard. So they are calmer. They've been trained to do it properly. The refs in the VAR hub have probably not been trained to talk to the general public. All they're doing is talking to
Why do they not do that in football?
Their colleague, because at the moment they haven't done it.
Why?
Because they just haven't been allowed to do it. And again, that has to be sanctioned by somebody else. They can't just do it off their own back. Premier League just can't do it off their own back.
Do you think we'll come to a point where people who sit in the VAR hub just do that rather than have a referee that one week you're on the grass, next week you're in the hub?
I think they tried it with Lee Mason, tried it with me. I didn't like it as a full-time VAR because I think that you lose a little bit of track about what goes on the pitch because you miss what a tackle is, what a tackle isn't, and you're distracted from it all.
If you were approached...
Fantastic.
But you know what?
Hang on.
He doesn't... I get that he don't make the decision, but you have to understand we have to talk about it because obviously there's people out there who are not here in our position. We have to talk to you about it because we know you know the people there. So you have to understand them Liverpool fans there who have not took on. I'm not saying they would have guaranteed and won the game, but they would have been. That was a goal and it was chalked off and it's a huge mistake. And I do agree with what Merson is saying. I said it during the week. And Simon made a good point. too much panic in there. There's too many voices and everyone's excited. If he calms down, he would have got the decision right. It's a bit. That's now Liverpool have dropped points.
I don't know, Clint. He got the decision right. It was a communication.
But the communication is not good. But they do panic in there, Dawes. We've seen other audio from it. They panic.
But to be fair, we've heard the communication before with VARs. Darren's process and how calm he was in the hub, that was a calm process. That was really, really calm and how it should be. He's just said the wrong terminology. He's just said the wrong thing for the wrong decision. And it's just a complete lapse of concentration for like 5 seconds. And once the game's restarted, they cannot do nothing, unfortunately.
Do you think the linesman gets lazy? Just putting his flag up because he knows it's going to go to VAR in the end anyway?
No, I don't think so.
Because he's well onside. It's not a tight one.
He is, but I said this morning, because one guy's here, one guy's further over, it might look a bit different where he is. He might not be bang in line. But Adrian clearly says, waiting on, go back, I'm giving the offside. Okay. That's been communicated to the VAR hub. They know it's offside. Darren's checked it, and then it's just a quick process. And before Ollie's even said about moving the lines, 2D lines, yeah, that's fine, check complete. And then he started straight away, and then they've realised within 2 or 3 seconds.
But it's a mistake, but it's concentration, isn't it? It's concentration.
Well, I've just said it.
Are they just sitting up there? You know what I mean? I don't know what they're doing, but you've got to concentrate. Yeah, you're only asked to sit and watch a football match and concentrate. Do you know what I mean? And he gets his one thing. And it's a lack of concentration. I can't explain. It can't be anything else.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Because he's checked the offside. He's happy with everything, and he's gone check complete, but he's check completed the wrong. He's just had a complete lapse for 5 seconds, and it's a major error. He knows it's a major error. The PGMO know it's a major error. Otherwise, they wouldn't have raised the audio.
So if it's a major error, stop the game.
You can't, because they can't in law. I know what you're saying, but you can't in law. You cannot do it, Paul.
What's the way for? It's not Mike Dean's decision, by the way. Just need to confirm
I know
that once again.
Well, I think it's Mike Dean's fault.
You can blame me if you want. Takes a bit of pressure off Darren.
Hence the colander at the start. Listen, what's the best way forward on this? How can we improve things? Because we can sit here for the rest of the day going through all the mistakes that have been made. No, we're not going to. There's some kickoffs to come at 3 o'clock, that's for sure. There's a few live games about to get underway as well. But what if Howard Webb came to you now and said, OK, how do we negate against this happening again as far as we possibly can? Because Mauricio Pochettino yesterday, he didn't criticise VAR. He said it's not the car. He says it's the driver. It's the people involved who are making the mistakes. Is the pool of talent that are at Stockley Park within refereeing, is that too shallow at the moment? Do we need to spread the net further afield? Jamie Carragher made the point on Monday Night Football about potentially bringing some refs in from other leagues. What is the way forward? So in a few weeks' time, a few months' time, we're not talking about such a high-profile incident again.
I think the way forward is to train them better with the process.
Is the training not good enough at the moment?
The training, it's an ongoing process.
What does that mean?
It's like they always have stuff, emails through and things to go through, certain clips within where they have to press the button, onside, offside. So they press that and that goes through to the PGMO. So they're always doing online training. They've been in this week, again, I know, doing certain things to try and get the communication better. But I don't know, the way forward, do you get ex-players in? For me, no, because I just don't think... If you get all their players in, half of them don't know the laws of the game's full stop, as you can tell by what you've just said about restarting game for the sake of it. So people
For the sake of it?
Yeah, well
for the sake of it?
But you don't know the law.
What do you mean the sake of it? You're playing Liverpool against Tottenham,
you don't know the
one
law.
of the biggest games, and you're saying for the sake of it?
But you don't know the law.
Come on.
Do you know
no, there's no law. No one's going to die. So stop the game. No one's going to happen. You're all scared. You're all like, oh my God, I'm going to get in trouble. Stop the game. Stop the game and then take the circumstances.
It's the law.
Seriously.
Calm down.
It's the law, mate.
Seriously.
It's the law.
Typical not played the game.
It's the law,
Typical.
mate. That is the law.
Typical.
And you cannot change the law.
Because you know the rules, that's different.
You can't change the law. It's simple as. It's black and white. You can't change the law. You can't change the law. Simple as. You cannot change the law. They'll have online training. I'm staying nice and calm because I know you cannot change the law. And if you want to blow up like a bottle of pop, that's fine by me.
Yeah, well, I just want to offer a few apologies to the sound department after that outburst for Paul Merson. Passions are running high.